Mr. Russ Raycott.
Mayor, I made a Freedom of Information request about expenditures from your office and got that. And, you know, we've had talks about the budget and money that was spent, and one of the documents that stuck out in my mind was that it had that in the 5 months that you've been in office, there's been $77,000 expended by yourself. A large amount of that was $12,000 was spent going to a mayor's conference. And we're talking about cutting staff and things like that. And
$12,000 was not spent on going to a mayor's conference.
well, there was a document, and it'll be on my blog later this week, and people can see
Sure
that.
is, but we want to make sure you state the correct truth.
Well, but there was an expense for $12,000 to a mayor's
Part of
conference.
the membership for a U.S. Conference of Mayors.
Okay,
Let's
well,
keep
it's
going.
a membership. $12,000 is spent.
It is.
All right. And then I saw a credit
Also,
card.
just so you know, the $77,000 does include my salary.
Right.
Okay.
And a $700.
Let's just make sure we're telling the truth.
Right, but you're taking up my time.
I am.
Okay. Yeah. But and it's also $700 for a vehicle expense, and you're being driven around in a rented car by
That is
police
true.
escorts, four of them.
Part of the package of
Right,
being mayor
right,
under the ordinance.
Right. And then there was also copies of a ghost account from Iberia Bank, which is your credit card. Saw numerous expenses, and I'd like to speak first before you interrupt me. Numerous expenses to Copper Grill for hundreds of dollars.
That's
there was
not
also,
true.
Okay, thank you for interrupting me. That's awful courteous.
Very much so.
Yeah. And, you know, wanting to know why you're spending all this money on alcoholic beverages. And then there's
Again, that's another non-truth.
Okay. Well, there was a memo.
It sure is.
There's a memo here. So this memo is confirmed that Mayor Scott Jr. had a breakfast meeting with City Manager Bruce Moore April 16th regarding city business. No alcohol was purchased at this meeting.
Yes, that's because it's a city policy that if you don't have an itemized receipt, you have to make certain that you state that. So we follow correct
Right. So
city
how many
policy.
meetings do y'all drink at?
We don't drink at any meeting.
Right. So none of your expenses at Copper Grill are for alcohol.
Not at all.
Right.
You
Well,
can look at all of our receipts.
right.
Yeah.
But again,
You do like to look at receipts, so let's look at all the receipts.
right. But I would say, with all the expense and the trouble that we have in the city, for you to go out and frivolously spend our money,
I'm not frivolously spending anything.
that's shitty.
Well, excuse yourself.
No, fuck you.
Officers, please excuse him right now, out of City Hall. He's out of City Hall. And we won't have that anymore. Thank you for doing that. We appreciate you. Well, excuse yourself.
No, fuck you.
Officers, please excuse him right now, out of City Hall. He's out of City Hall. We won't have any more. Thank you for doing that.
It's my First Amendment
We
right.
appreciate you.
Hang on. Sorry.
Ms. Loretta Hendricks.
I'm switching the camera now. Okay.
You're fine.
All right, thank you. You know, there was a recent Supreme Court ruling that you can tell the police to get fucked. I told that to the mayor, and he's having these two nice officers escort me out. What do you think about that? You guys live in Little Rock? Well, they don't want to say, so that means he doesn't. I think the brother probably does. 80% of the white officers refuse to live in the city. There are more black officers that live in there. And if you live in Little Rock, all the folks watching want to thank you for not being afraid to. I'll push the button, okay? You guys have a good night. Take care. See y'all next time. The reason that Mayor Scott was so bent out of shape and argumentative during the citizen communication period was that on Father's Day, he had posted a video on the city's YouTube channel praising fathers, including his own. I thought that was kind of odd because research that I had done on the mayor and his family indicated that he had come from an abusive, broken home. In fact, Mrs. Scott had filed numerous petitions for orders of protection during the marriage, and ultimately obtained a divorce from Frank Sr. Though the reports and petitions filed of record clearly indicate that Frank Scott Sr. was an abusive, violent man. In fact, when Frank Scott Jr. was 16, he had broken up a fight between his parents. The Police reports indicate that Frank Scott Sr., who was a fireman at the time, had called the police when they responded to the home fucking faggots. He was ordered not to go to the house. He broke into the house, chased his estranged wife out of the house, and then after the divorce, less than a year after the divorce, one of the side chicks that Frank Sr. had during the marriage filed for an order of protection herself. And in that petition, she clearly stated that she and Frank Scott Sr. had carried on an 11-year affair during the marriage. And I don't believe that a philandering, abusive father deserves praise, and especially one with the abusive history that Frank Scott Sr. had. That's why the mayor was so testy during that meeting and acting an ass like he did.